Welcome to For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corian K-Pad Paget, and this is your number one source for all things sports, health, and fitness related.
Oh, hold on, Coach. What does For the Health of It stand for?
Good question, Austin. The four and For the Health of It stands for our four principles, which are mindset, movement, nutrition, and recovery.
Okay, cool. Let's do it for the health of it then.
Welcome to another edition of For the Health of It. I'm your host, Corian K-Pad Paget, and today I have with me a personal friend and business partner of my wife's family, my in-laws, Vinson Keyhea. Vincent was my wife's and her sister's personal trainer when they were training for tennis in their undergraduate years and junior years of tennis. So, Vincent, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful today. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, doing quite
Mhm.
well. So, Vincent, as I mentioned, you did some personal training with my wife when during her preteen years and teenage years. Uh, but before you did that personal training, you also, you were a pretty fit guy for, I would assume what you're what 55?
Oh, I like to be 55 again, but I just had a birthday on the 20th. I'm 59, and I'll be 59 until the first of the year. And that year, I'll be 50. I'll be 60.
Okay, okay. So I'd assume you've been a pretty fit guy, basically 58 years of your life, right?
Yes,
so
yes, yes.
so with that being said, Vincent, just tell me a little bit how you got into fitness and into athletics and all that.
Well, it's strange, when people ask me about that. I have in my family history, my people come from a strong line of people that was they said it was strong. My father was a strong man, and which I found out. And I lost my father at the age of 15.
Okay.
And but anyway, I was kind of getting into lifting then, but not much. But really, I was really trying to do it because I had a sister that's a little older than me, and she used to tease me when I was getting up, said I was going to have the butterball stomach, the butterball turkey. And because a lot of my, was known. There's men that was in my family had a little protruding stomach, looked like they were about, some of them was looked like they were about, 6, 7 months pregnant. And I was determined not to have the butterball stomach. And
Right.
I was trying to figure out how can I not have the butterball stomach. So when I started lifting and got into lifting, my goal was if that would keep me from having a butterball stomach, that was what I was going to do. So that kind of led me into trying to exercise and then trying to keep from having a butterball stomach.
Okay. All right. Hey, you sound like somebody else I interviewed recently. He said, "Man, it was a vain reason, but as I grew older, my reason evolved." So, hey, nah, I understand that, Vincent. I too come from a family of guys with butterball stomachs, so it's a constant battle, constant
Right,
battle.
it's a constant battle. It's in me. I
Yeah.
just have to keep fighting it back.
Right. Right.
And I think I was able to accomplish that goal. But as I moved into lifting, I started realizing that I had a talent of natural strength that
Right.
came through my family line, and I had an uncle who asked me one day before I even started getting into competition lifting and said, Vincent, have you ever checked and see how strong you are? And I said, what you mean, huh? He said, well, you look just like your father. And your father was one of the strongest men we ever saw up in this, around this area.
Right.
And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, you may have to check and see how strong you are. Because I was already, even from childbirth, I can remember that I was already strong, naturally strong. Because when I do things, you do things that you have a talent, you think that's normal.
Hmm.
And, like when I would go out and wrestle with the kids and go out, one kid was just not enough. I needed 2 or 3 to make it challenging for me. Just doing one person just wasn't quite enough for me. But I didn't know that wasn't normal. I just thought that that's how it's supposed to be. So, but anyway, I played football all the way up to my 10th grade and a sophomore year, and I decided I'm just going to quit sports. I'm burnt out, don't want to do it anymore, and stuff like that. But after hearing that from my uncle, they had a PE. I was in PE. I wasn't playing the sports, doing PE, and they had the school record on the deadlift bar, and with just very little practice at all, I broke the school record.
Oh wow!
And it was just it was hard, but it wasn't like this is the school record,
Right.
and I picked it up, and everybody was impressed that I did that. And then the coach said, "Well, we have a weightlifting team, and then if you get on this weightlifting team, and you have to play football." So that put me back playing football again, just to lift weights, But there again, I said, well, if I lift weights, I won't get the butterball stomach.
True that. So my question is,
put me in that area,
Yeah. So what high school did you go to?
I went to Gulfport High.
Okay.
Coach Cuevas was my coach at the time.
Gotcha.
Coach Cuevas was Coach Freeman was the head coach. Coach Freeman was the lineman coach, but Coach Cuevas was the powerlifting coach at the time.
Okay.
So he was the one that kind of inspired me. So he in turn brought me introduced me to competition lifter Doc Rose.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of I think I was like 17 years old when I met Doc Rose, and he was really the first powerlifter I saw, real powerlifter. Which I was powerlifting in high school, which again the same thing that I was experiencing when I was in my childhood, I was experiencing the same thing in high school. They would not let me lift in my regular weight class because my regular weight class, it was no competition.
Right.
I had to lift in the super heavyweight class in order to have competition. I would lift super heavyweight, even though I only weighed 152 pounds. I had to lift in the 242s and above weight class in order to lift with guys that would keep up with me at the time, which I thought that was at the time, I thought it was perfectly normal.
Right.
That's what I was supposed to do, because I've been doing it all my life, Mm-hmm.
So do you remember what the school record was?
405.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
It was 405. It was 4 places, 8 45-pound plates. And you didn't have a weight classes. The strongest man, and I might be wrong on this. I think the guy named had it was Juan Conway at the time. And but it was 405. When I left there, it was 620.
And that was yours?
It was mine.
See.
And they had to find a guy in my weight class, after all these years. And they said, well, you should look forward to someone breaking that record one day. And I said, yeah. But no, I hope nobody don't break it, but they get to it. I like to know that I was the only one come through at that time at that weight class. I think they could have somebody that's, 242 or something like that can make it. But
right.
160, 152, doing 620.
That's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight, and with no technique,
right?
Because we didn't have a technique back then.
Right. Did y'all have weight belts?
We had weight belts, but that's all we had.
Right.
We didn't have suits. We had a whatever weight belt they give us. We didn't have our own personal weight belt.
Right.
Now in competition, I have my own personal weight belt, my own personal shoes, my own personal suit. Everything gonna be there for me to handle that big weight. So as a teenager, I went on to go to Little Rock, Arkansas with Doc, and as a teenager, 18 years old, I set the teenage world record at 665.
Wow.
And then 162.
Right.
Which today I'm not sure if anybody is topping those numbers.
Right. Man, that's crazy.
665 pounds.
Give me a time frame. Around what year is this? Is this the 19?
Well, we're talking like, I graduated in 81. Okay. So we're talking 82s, 83s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would like to be correct on these dates, but when you get 60 years old, they start blending. So we're talking back, some years back,
right.
40 something years, so.
Okay.
Yeah, Mm-hmm.
All right. So chat me up, Vincent, about, you graduated high school. What when you were graduating high school, what did you want to do? Like at that time?
Well, believe it or not, I'm doing exactly. I tell people that I can't find for me personal, Vincent, I can't find a better thing to do job than what I'm doing because I'm doing exactly what I prayed that I would be doing and what I believed that I would be doing. And I was able to achieve my own personal goals. I have an article that the Sun Herald at the time that made for me when I was in high school. And I told them that I wanted to be, number one, I wanted to be a world champion weightlifter. I wanted to be a personal trainer. I didn't know how those things would come to pass at the time, but all those things have come to pass, So I feel like I'm a really blessed man to be able to enjoy, and gracefully bow out of competition because it's time for someone else to use the spotlight, and go on with life, But I still live. I still stay in shape. And I got in shape for my birthday too, so we did that,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my next question for you is you're 19, 20 years old. What are you doing at this time?
Well, 19, 20 years old, 19, I'm now is new uh, teenage national champion, and now the world has begun to see me as a possible good lifter, which probably unusual lifter, And I met this guy named Frank Venturini in Little Rock, Arkansas, right after I did the 666, 665, I'm sorry, 665, we had 162, 665 pounds, weighing 162 pounds. And after I left, I walked this guy named Frank Venturini, came up to me and said, man, I never seen anyone like you before. And I think I can help you, but you have to understand, I don't know who Frank is at the time, but I'm gonna learn who he is. Frank was, he trained Doc Rose, who also is a competition powerlifter.
Right.
And he had won a world championships too, but I've won 5 in my career, and so.
You had won 5 at that point, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna win 5.
Gotcha.
Before it's over with.
Right.
So this is my first, teenage national championship. So I'm a new teenage national champion, and also won pound for pound best lifter at that meet. But at the same time, what I'm saying is I met Frank Venturini, and Frank Venturini is a technique expert,
right,
and also a competition powerlifting trainer. Mm-hmm. And he said, I can help you. And my insides want to say, but you have to understand, Frank is a very mild guy, maybe 135, 40 pounds, not muscular, just a regular guy that you kind of see walking. But learning that the knowledge that he gave me upon his mentorship was unreal. He taught me the tech. I did all that, basically no technique, right? Mm-hmm. Then he taught me the science and the technique of lifting, which changed the whole game, because, now, I guess I was a person who had the talent, and then you give me the technique and the science, which set me apart ahead of everyone else. He told me that, he said, you are 10 years ahead of your time. You shouldn't even be on this earth right now. And it did. It took about 10 years before all the other champion lifters started catching up with me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can win a worlds just like you win a local.
Right.
It wasn't that simple, but
right.
I'm like, okay, because I was just beginning to find out who I was as a person and trying to find my place, in society, in the world, where I'm gonna be. And so I hadn't tested myself. I test myself against people in the United States, in the States, and now I'm testing myself. But, backtrack to the teenage nationals. Mm-hmm. I like to say that I won, but I won by 1 pound.
Wow.
That now I like to tell the truth on that. I won by 1 pound because I was 100 pounds behind going into the last lift, and I had to pull the 665 in order to win. So, so I found out that something that day that there are people that's just as talented. Now it's down to hard work.
Right.
So how hard are you willing to work to get where you are, even though you have a gift, even though you have a talent, you have to work hard to excel yourself above the others.
Gotcha. So I'm looking at some local. Excuse the interruption. It's me, K-Pad, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in and listening to For the Health of It on whatever streaming service you choose. Be sure to subscribe and give us a good rating. Now back to the show. Are some top gems in powerlifting throughout the history of powerlifting and whatnot, like West Side. What's your opinion on West Side Barbell?
West Side Training Camp?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I went up there. I traveled to West Side and I took their course and stuff like that. I'm a very open-minded person to trainers and people who train and people who live and stuff like that. And I talk to some of the best. I got a chance to travel with world champion lifters and from other countries, et cetera. And I got a chance to talk to some of the best trainers, et cetera, and just see where I am compared to them. That's what I do. And I think West Side, I take a lot of the science that they use. I think they're a very good training camp, and the way that they approach it, I think it's a very, very good way of approaching things. It's just, when I'm looking at somebody's workout, and I'm not talking about West Side Training Camp, because like I said, I think it's a very good camp, and I think that, professional NFL football player coaches and trainers are there.
Right.
Best of the best are there, and that's why I was there.
Right.
Because I wanted to be knowing that if you guys are this good, I wanted to see what you were teaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
I getting a lot out there, but my thing is this here is when I'm doing a workout and when I'm doing a routine, with the data that I have, that I cannot just throw away everything I got and everything I learned and adopt someone else's program.
Right.
My program is world class. You know what I'm saying? And your program might be world class too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your program been tested and proven, and my program been tested and proven. So, but I can take some stuff from your program and add it to my program.
Exactly.
And make it better.
Right.
And so I took some things from their program and applied it to some stuff to improve my program, because sometimes in doing good programs, sometimes it's variation of exercises, because you can't get adapted to doing certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So your body needs you need variety,
Okay.
But they are dead serious. So when you go, you better be dead serious. Better do. They are not they're not a joke. And that was years ago. When I got there, man, the two guys that met me at the airport and escorted me to this building, which was completely windows blacked out. Man, them guys look like they could wrestle a bear. You know what I'm saying? They got it down pat. And then you go in this building with all blacked out and say, "We finna teach you guys some stuff here." It was awesome. I mean, it's a everlasting imprint on me to be there at Westside and train with them.
That's dope, man. So you came up in powerlifting and basically, well, hold on. How do I want to ask this? Yeah, you came up in powerlifting, but there's another sport with weights. It's called Olympic lifting. Have you ever tried Olympic lifting? And if so, why? Or go ahead and tell your side of that.
Well, no, I did not. I did not. I think at the time, our gyms, and still now, there's not too many gyms that's equipped for Olympic lifting. You have to have rubber weights. You have to have proper floors. I mean, just like the, what's that, Planet Fitness, you drop a dumbbell, man, they're throwing you out of there.
Right.
Think if you slam about 300 pounds on their floor, you'd be out before it hit the floor.
Right. Right.
But no, we didn't get into that. We got it. We use a lot of their, like, again, the Olympic lifters, they got it down pat. They have great trainers, strong guys, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But because we don't have the proper way of training, we couldn't train a lot of the lifts that they did because, they didn't have the platform for that,
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes plenty of sense. So
but the science, it's all about the science. They science is good, and the training and the fitness that they do is unusual. People think that, I think some people think that don't know, it thinks that powerlifters is kind of sluggish, slow guy. Mm-hmm. movements, but that is a really fast movement, explosion.
Right.
You know, in football, I can run like a 4.5, 4.6 40. You know what I'm saying? It's not great speed, but you getting up there. I played fullback at 152.
Oh,
I
wow.
was blocking for a guy named Pete Romaine. He weighed 205, 6'1", 6'2", all state,
Right.
and I'm the guy who leading them around the corner at
Right.
100 pound blocking for him,
That's
or
great.
yards. So that's where we are.
So you said you ran what in the 40?
I ran between I think when they timed me, I was between a 4.5, 4.6, 40.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I'm messing
So,
with you. I'm messing with you.
but that was, back then that was
Hey, that's moving though. Like,
240. Oh, I could cook, I could get down. But but in powerlifting, I could still run. I played tennis and
right.
still have speed. I'm known for my speed. And the lifting is all about quickness. How fast can you move that weight,
Mm-hmm.
and get it up, in a controlled manner,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My question I always love to ask powerlifters is, you got Olympic lifting, and Olympic lifting is a Olympic sport, obviously, right? Why isn't there like one official governing body for powerlifting, and why isn't powerlifting in the Olympics?
Well, and that's going to be a good question. The good question is this here. When I came into powerlifting, there was no such thing as drug-free lifting.
Mm-hmm.
IPF, I think, was the name of the organization. And so you could just lift for this organization. And if you was on, when I said drug-free is you could take steroids. But I like to know, say for the record, I'm a lifetime drug-free lifter. I've never taken a steroid ever, period. You know what I'm saying? So you'll see some of my lifting and records in the IP Federation.
Right.
But there was no ADFPA, American Drug-Free Powerlifting Association, did not exist.
Right.
I lifted in the first American drug-free powerlifting competition was in Bay St. Louis, St. Stanislaus. Brother Bennett, we hosted the very first, me, Doc Rose, and some more lifters. Larry Plummer supported the American Drug-Free Powerlifting Association meet, was right in Mississippi, unknown history facts.
Wow.
We was a part of that movement. And we became that movement. Brother Bennett is not, it's not with us anymore. Is that Brother Bennett, that organization that he started, became one of the largest powerlifting organizations because people started joining that.
Right.
Okay, so back to your question. I don't think I really answered your question. Powerlifting, when people first came into lifting steroids, powerlifters was the very first people to introduce steroids to sports.
Right.
They found out, what steroids. Steroids is for when people get injured in car wrecks and surgery. It helps you heal the muscle tissue that's been damaged back faster at an alarming rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a very small amount. A group of powerlifters got together and said, if it does that, and working out breaks down muscle tissues, if this heals you back up faster, then you can work out more. And then this is how the competition lifting became dirty.
Right.
So by the time the Olympics got a hold of this, and they was trying to get into the Olympics, the Olympic Corporation said, we're not gonna advertise a bunch of drug users.
Right.
Because the organization was the main group that was using strength-inducing drugs.
Right.
Enhanced, So that's what made us have a bad name. Right. So a lot of people think that, and I'll tell you, and I would really be honest with you on this, is that I think that it was easy for me to be drug-free in my career. I was at the height of my career, and I had opportunities to actually take steroids, and it was offered to me. Say, because I was going to, you breaking world records being drug-free, and then if you take, get on the steroids, you're just going to be this guy that's
right
off the street. And I thought about it, and it was not. I didn't just say no right away, And I told them, I talked to them, I said, let me think about it and see if I want to do it. And Came back to him a couple, 2 or 3 days later, and I said, you know something? There's life after lifting. I said, after I finish this, I do not want to have any skeletons in my closet. Okay, so then I kind of thought in my mind as I lifted, well, I'm going to do my career in competition lifting, and maybe after my career, then maybe I might try, something strength inducing, steroid or something like that. Just let me try and just see what I can do. So I'm off the choice and don't have to be tested and stuff like that. Then I realized I can't take it then, because if I took it then, it's too old to try. So I'm just, I'm past all of that. So Thank God I did not do it and did not try it. One of the best decisions I made. Some of my lifters and that I know that did do it and that did try it, some of them, they're not with me and they sustain some energy that's kind of faded. It's a short-lived life, because your body gonna allow you naturally to do no more than you could do.
Right.
But once you get into something else, it's gonna push you beyond that point. That's my own personal opinion. Other people might have other opinions, but that's my own personal opinion. But it was a great decision for me, so I don't have that skeleton in my closet that I need to pull out. I might want to run for president one day.
Hey, all right. So we talked about your history in powerlifting, Vincent, and I appreciate you breaking it down, the steroid use and all that. Could you talk about when did you start personal training?
Well, I would like to know the year, but my wife said I'm stuck on 30. She said, I've been training for 30 years, 5 years ago. Been training for 30 years. She said, you won't move off the 30. So, I said I've been personal training for about 35 years.
Okay.
30, really, but I'll say 30 years just because my wife said I'm stuck on 30.
Okay.
I like to say that I was one of the very first personal trainers on this coast who actually made a living on this job on the coast, because I didn't know any other trainer. I seen maybe somebody did it some, but I actually went full time. I was already a gym trainer.
Right.
I was working in the gym. So I stopped that and told the gym owner that I want to try to be out on my own and do my own business, because I would train people when they come in the gym, and I give them the run of the gym, and then I never see the results.
Right.
I train someone else, I never see the results. I wanted to work with someone just like I was working with and actually see from start to finish.
Right.
So I started doing the personal training. I mean, within weeks, I was booked solid. I mean, just had so many clients. And then it's just been like that all my career. You know what I'm saying? I took out my certification, stuff like that. I had my certification while I did the personal training, but and that's how I've been. And then other trainers start coming along and et cetera. And some trainers on the coast kind of came through me first and then kind of see how it worked and went on, which is fine. I had a couple of gyms that I opened up myself and ran, you know what I'm saying? So I had one of the first personalized training gyms on the coast, just for personalized training only. This personalized training fitness, and so that's all I've been doing. I want to go back. I did some home training too first.
Okay.
I was traveling to New Orleans and Diamond Head and just make a circle, but it's a time between moving from one client to another. I found out it was better that if I could just stay in one spot. So when I come in, I do a group of clients start at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, get off 11, go home, come back, do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and be done, instead of moving around. So that worked out better for me,
Okay. So you don't have to name drop if you don't want to, but who's some of the biggest clients that you ever trained?
Oh man, I trained, Gulfport finest, from the most wealthiest you would think on the coast. I actually trained. I had this thing. I was training so many people till I wanted to train every letter in the alphabet.
Okay.
From A to Z, and I actually trained from A to Z. I even got a Z and I got an X. It was hard to get.
Right.
So I mean, thousands of people I think I've trained in my career. I actually trained, but not, and I also had slow turnovers. So I didn't have fast turnovers in some cases because I actually have clients who've been with me for 20 years.
Wow.
Who just turn their fitness over to me. And that's what I do that's my job is to keep them fit. I even have trained clients, which is tough for me to deaf to a sport.
Right.
We trained and I actually went to their services.
Wow.
They were my clients, which that's tough. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely understand how that can be rough.
But I would tell you about one particular client.
Go ahead.
She was I started training her, and we trained for 2 or 3 years, couple of years, and she became pregnant. And I trained her all the way to her 9 months. And the day of her workout, in her 9th month, she said, "I can't come in to work out because I'm gonna have a baby." I said, "You going to the hospital?" She said, "Yes." She called me back and said, about 2 or 3 hours later, she said, "I had the baby." I said, "You could talk?" She said, "Yes, I can talk." But anyway, on the end of that, she had the baby, and the baby grew up, and we continued to work out, and he became a young man. I became his trainer.
Wow.
I trained him. He went to college and came back, and I trained him.
Nice.
That's how long I've been training.
That's nice.
I said, "You should be able to count." I counted to you all the time in your stomach, in your mom's stomach. So, that's how long I've been training.
Oh, that's dope, Vincent. That is dope.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got to get a little personal here. As I already mentioned, you trained my wife and her sister. Tell me if you even remember, how'd you meet them and how'd you start training them and how sorry of athletes were they at first?
Well, when I start training them, I meet people where they are.
Right.
My thing is, my trainer told me, and I think Frank Venturini is one of the best trainers in the world, bar none. And like I said, he was my mentor, and he trained me.
Mm-hmm.
And he not only he was one of my father figures, because I lost my father when I was, like I said, I was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was the person I looked at as father figure. Doc Rose I used him as my role model. And so I asked Frank, he said, "Vinson, after a few years of training," he said, "Vinson," he said, "you are actually doing better than me. You're doing something I cannot do." And I said, "Well, what's that?" I couldn't imagine me being able to do something in the gym fitness better than him, because I think he's the best in the world. He said, "You could actually take someone that's not an athlete and start from scratch and find out where they are and bring them into their own personal level of fitness and work with them from that spot." Wow. He said, "I have to have an athlete with talent and improve that athlete from that point on. I'm not sure if I could take someone from scratch who has no athletic abilities at all,
right, and
work on that level and keep them and improve them." So, when I start training someone, and I think it's beginning to be like powerlifting and the kind of training that I do, I begin to call it a lost art. Mm-hmm. It's beginning to be a lost art. The kind of lifting that we've done, because way we was brought up in our training, and not saying that the other personal trainers, what they're doing is wrong. That you can only work on what you was taught. You know what I'm saying? Right. I can only go on what I taught, and if it works for you, that's good. You know what I'm saying? But I know it works for me. I have data and tested and proven. And I'm, to be good and to be a champion, you got to be a little hard-headed too. So when someone bring us, say, "Vinson, I want to do this new workout. Would you try it?" You got to give me 3 reasons why I'm going to change my workout. You know what I'm saying? To do something different. To get back to them, they did good in their own level. They worked hard. It's about people reaching their own personal goals and getting to their own level of training. And sometimes, what I want to ask people when I work with them, when I interview them, what I want to find out is, what is my job? What is my job? What do you want me to do? What are you hiring me for? And then once they answer that question, then I'm gonna make it realistic for them. Like they say, well, if they weigh 220 pounds, well, I want to lose 60 pounds in 3 months. You got the wrong training. That's not gonna happen. That's not what I do. I could do it, but it's not gonna work for you.
Right.
You know? And so let's talk realistic. How long do you think it's gonna take you to lose 60 pounds, And I would tell them, I said, you got to figure 4 pounds a month.
So time out, Vincent, because I'm glad you're saying this, because I've said this to my wife before and she called me crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she's gonna hear this, and and I know she respect. Man, I can't wait to rub this in her face. But continue.
Yeah. Well, anytime you do, you just like your body, you gotta know your body gonna protect itself, right?
Right.
You drill that weight down, you know it. I've seen people lose 400 pounds. They'll lose 10, they gain 20. They lose 20, they gain 30. You know what I'm saying? It's your body. That's your body breaking, rejecting what you're doing. And you get on something, you're gonna get off. So I'm trying to get you in something that you're gonna be permanent. So 4 pounds a month, and then that's an average. So
Right.
some months you're gonna lose 5. Some months you're gonna lose 3. Some months you're gonna lose 2, but you're gonna average 4.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So and then somewhere it's gonna slow down, and then that gives you something, a realistic goal. Because some people just start training and they don't have a start or finish. We believe in cycles. I cycles. We know when you're gonna start, we know when you're gonna finish, we're gonna know when you're gonna take your breaks. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna know if we on our goals or not. And then we're gonna continue to test. And if you get to the point and we at the 12-week cycle, and you now at your goal, I'm looking at you and you looking at me,
Right.
and we answer the question, did I do my job or did you do your job? And you are the only person my client gonna really know the truth.
Right.
You were making your appointments. I was giving you 100%. We was doing what we're supposed to do, but was you sneaking in the refrigerator at night? You know what I'm saying? Or did you do what you're supposed to do? But normally, we try to keep them on that goal. So it's all about a realistic goal, something that, because you didn't gain it like that.
Right.
When a person can gain, 5 or 6 pounds and won't even know it. And when I start tracking people, if I'm not talking too much on it, is that between October, November, December is when most of the weight gain on most females and males. And December, January comes and then you get to go. So you gain anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds in that time. Somewhere, I'm just roughly saying.
Right.
You lose about 4 or 5 of that 7 to 10 pounds, and you retain that weight back over to October, November, December. And then you lose that, but you retain that. So you're gaining about 4 to 5 pounds a year.
Right.
In about 3 years, you're looking at where that 15 come from. Came years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Up in there. So if it came that slow, you got to kind of take it off slow. Keep it off. Because you won't notice it as much as you did, because you didn't notice the weight really coming on. It took about 15 pounds for you to, about 10 to 12 pounds for someone that's not working out. Now, you and I,
Right.
as fitness professionals, me, I know you do too. If we gain 5 pounds, we know it.
Right.
And if we lose 5 pounds, we know it. And we're going to if that's not what we want to do, we're going to make that correction right away. Hey, man, I just gained 5 pounds. This is not good weight. Or I wanted to gain 5 pounds. But, people that do not exercise could gain 7, 8, 10 pounds and don't even realize they picked it up.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're.
Okay. Hey, Vincent, you've been dropping knowledge, man, and I can't wait to rub this in my wife's face.
Well, hey, don't tell us it was your idea. Yeah.
All right, but before I get you out of here, Vincent, how can my listeners find you?
Oh yeah, well, I'm at Rose Club Fitness in Horticourt Shopping Center, White Natural, Gulfport, Mississippi. 228-324-0319. 228-324-0319. You can find me there, call me, text me, and just let me help you reach your personal goals. And man, it was a pleasure. Man, that was good. It was good. It was good talking with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
When you coming back in the gym and work out, man, when you come back and yell at me something.
Man, hey, look, we haven't been down on the coast, to be honest with you, Vincent. We haven't been down since October-ish, I think. I think
Really?
I think it's been about October.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Well, when you just pop in, I'm in there more in the mornings,
Okay.
some in the evenings, but never around noon.
Okay. I bet.
I'm on lunch break.
Okay. All right. Hey, this has been another episode of For the Health of It. Thank you, y'all, for tuning in.